So like I said, this BIOS chip, you can see it here. Now we talked about BIOS chip earlier in our class. If you are following me on my Facebook page, you'll be able to understand the different kind of BIOS chip we have and the ones that are programmable. Basically, most of the BIOS chip we have right now, they are programmable BIOS chip, unlike those days. So now this is the EC BIOS. We have two types of BIOS. We have the main BIOS, which is this, and we have the EC BIOS. Each of them has 8 pins. You can see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. It has 8 pins. Now the modern PC BIOS is stored in a writable chip, which is known as EEPROM or non-flash memory. So this allows content to be placed and modified, meaning that you can modify it, you can write what is there. So unlike those days that you cannot do anything, and the writing of this content is sometimes termed as flashing. You hear some engineers telling you that I want to flash your BIOS, I want to flash your BIOS, meaning that they want to write another program on it. So the program can be written or can be edited. Even when there is mistake on the BIOS chip, there is a way we can edit the chip and the program files and rewrite other ones on it, and it will work perfectly to suit the motherboard condition. Now if you look at it critically, we said in writing it, writing the content sometimes form flashing. It can be done by special programmer. Like if you are a good programmer, you can write a programs on the BIOS chip and make it work just the same way the system is working before. Now we also talk about the hardware part of the BIOS chip. Like we talk about the way it was being, it's been placed on the motherboard, which is the hardware part. The original IBM BIOS, which is known as cassette in these days, was stored on a mass program. But right now, due to the advent of technology, we make use of read-only memory, which is the ROM. You understand? So the chip socket on that motherboard of that ROMs could be replaced, but not altered by user to allow for updates. Many compatible computers use a programmable BIOS memory device such as EEPROM, and later flash memory. So that means that those programs you have on your BIOS chip can be programmed and can be edited and can be erased if possible. So according to Robert Brewer, one of these scientists that works on motherboard, he presided on BIOS manufacturers to use a micro firmware. He asked them to make use of micro firmware. So the micro firmware is miniaturized into something like this that you're seeing today. This is the micro firmware. You can see it. So those firmware are being arranged in such a way that it will look like a flash. To look like a flash device that can be erased, and when it is erased, another one can be written on it. So this chip become common around, I think those chips became common around 1995, because that was after the advent of Windows 95. So those chips became very, very common, that everybody started getting access to those BIOS chip after 1995, because the electronically erased PROM, which was there before, is way more cheaper and easier to program than the standard one, which is presently here now. So those electronically ones are more cheaper in those days. So with the advent of this one, it now makes it easier for people to write programs on BIOS chip. Now, any good programmer can just reprogram a motherboard into a version of BIOS chip that will suit that motherboard, and debug it and remove other bugs that can cause other issues along the line. So that is the essence of this BIOS chip. Now when that invention came in, with the beginning of that IBM at the PC supported the hardware clocks settable through BIOS, meaning that after that period, there is a clock that was set to help the BIOS to work, which is also known as CMOS battery. That clock that was set on the BIOS enabled the BIOS to sense the timer, it enabled it to sense the clock, it enabled it to send data, and those are the things that helps the BIOS chip to work in those days. And earlier down to the century of year 2000, most engineers, most companies started having to revisit, to revision and create what is on Windows 95 before. Or I mean, what was created in 1995 by Robert Braver. They started revisiting it and started creating their own. They created other versions of the BIOS chip up to 1997, up to 2000, and automatically everything became a flash memory device that everybody can easily write programs on, and it will work as is expected. So we can say that the advent of BIOS chip came into existence through um, go on.